Excuse me. Do you have the Do you have the time? They say everyone has a twin somewhere. I'm trying to find Sigourney Weaver's twin. So if anyone sees her, let her know. I like flowers and long stalks on the beach.
In 1845, Emilie Sagee took a job as a teacher at Pensionnat van Neuwelcke, an all-girls boarding school. She had taught at 18 schools in the last 16 years, but this would be her last teaching job. Emilie was well liked by the students and had good rapport with the staff. By any normal measure, she was an excellent addition to the staff. But with Emilie, it was only a matter of time before things became abnormal. The first appearances of Emilie's doppelganger were jarring, but harmless. The real problems would come later. Emilie interacting with the children became dangerous. One child fainted when she looked down and saw Emilie and her doppelganger helping her with her costume. While Emilie couldn't see her doppelganger, she would begin to feel weak whenever it was around. The girls started to complain. They didn't feel safe going on walks with their teacher. Most walks were uneventful, but sometimes Emilie would become pale and lose her breath. And that's when the girls would see her, the doppelganger, watching them. And her doppelganger started becoming more independent. Where at first it would mimic, it now began stalking. One day during a sewing class, the sewing teacher needed to leave the room for a few minutes. Emilie walked into the class and sat down. The students reasoned she came in to supervise until the sewing teacher returned. Then one of the girls looked out the window and saw Emilie's doppelganger. They went to get Emilie's attention. The child's hand went right through Emilie's doppelganger. She said it felt like her hand was going through cobwebs. Over 40 people reported seeing the doppelganger that day. Parents, began pulling their girls from the school. The principal, Mr. Butch, had no choice but to let Emilie Sagee go. After leaving, no one saw her doppelganger again.
After getting fired, several of the children's math test scores immediately went up. When asked why, one girl said when her teacher's twin showed up, it was hard to find the difference. Ooh, I almost forgot. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Super Horse Show, how are you?
I finally got you on the phone.
You did. It's good to talk to you. Is this about the doppelgangers?
Doppelgangers? Oh yeah. Hey, Kelly, did you have fun making that video?
I had an amazing time. It was so much fun working with you. Thank you for having me.
I could watch videos of you all day.
Thank you.
Had you heard of Emilie Sagee before?
I had not. I actually had to Google her and make sure I was saying her name right. And once I found the pronunciation of her name, I started reading about it, and I thought, holy crap, there's a lot about doppelgangers and so many stories that are throughout history that I didn't know about. So this whole doppelganger issue has its own little section that I'm new to this. I've opened up to it. It's pretty cool.
Considering how many paranormal accounts exist, it's odd that it doesn't have a greater space in the paranormal community.
Exactly, and that's why I was really surprised to hear about this story, and there's so many just like it that I was like, where has this been? I hadn't heard about it. So this is definitely a topic that I'm going to explore more of.
After hearing the story, what are your thoughts on doppelgangers now?
Well, I am a Gemini, so I've actually been told that I've got a twin myself, because that's the sign of a Gemini. So I thought it was kind of cool anyway. But to be honest, from the paranormal community and watching and reading, I think doppelgangers are more demonic because they are based out of deception. And that's more of a demonic personality trait. I don't think it's a normal ghost, because most ghosts are friendly, perhaps. They're not out to deceive you. They just want to communicate with you. Whereas a demonic or evil spirit is more about deceiving you, harming you, trying to trick you.
I often try to draw parallels between different cryptids and entities. With doppelgangers, and like you mentioned, the deception, there's a lot of different pieces that fit in with other paranormal entities. For example, the Men in Black, or even black-eyed kids. Have you come to any conclusions like this yourself?
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of mimicking, the idea of mimicking has taken place in the paranormal community. A lot of evil spirits, demonic spirits will mimic, for example, little girls. So when paranormal investigators go out and they hear a little girl's voice, or they see a little girl in white, 99% of the time, it's not a little girl's spirit. It's a demonic spirit trying to impersonate something that seems very angelic, very innocent, so that you'll let your guard down and trust them. And so if you are, experienced in the paranormal community, the mimicking thing is very highly known to be a more demonic, deceptive type trait.
In the case of Emilie Sagee, it appears that her doppelganger was almost becoming more and more independent, like it was learning from her. Do you think, given the chance, that it would have attempted to replace Emilie?
I do. I think, the second stage of a demonic entity, or their goal, is oppression. They try to oppress you. And so that would be the stage that she was in at this time. And then the third stage would be possession. So that would be taking over. And that's when you would need an exorcism, or, help from the Catholic Church. So at this stage in this story, I saw an oppression. She was being oppressed. They were using her body, her thoughts, her emotions, and then at some point, if this kept going, it would have turned into a possession and taken over. I do believe that.
That was a really good point I hadn't considered. It was operating very much like a demon in the way that it attempted to ostracize her and separate her from everybody else.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed is how everyone reacted around it. The children, the other staff members. When you have a demonic presence, you always feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel uneasy. You have anxiety, and that's how everyone was feeling. That's your natural intuition. Your body's telling you that something's not right. When you come across a friendly ghost or someone that has passed, you normally don't get those feelings of anxiety and uneasiness. So you can kind of go off the body language and the reactions of the people around it.
That was a really good point. I had such a great time with you today, Kelly. Thank you so much. Where can my viewers see more of your content?
Well, you can go to my YouTube channel, Kelly's Unexplained. I'm on social media, Facebook at Kelly Nickel. I'm on Twitter at Kelly Nickel7, Kelly's Unexplained as well. I'm on Instagram, Kelly Nickel.
If you could go and pick the video that you are the most proud of or that you think that my subscribers would enjoy watching, which video would it be?
This one, of course. But there is one that's going to be featured on Paranormal Caught on Camera in a few weeks, I guess. I can't tell you the exact date. The producers won't let me. But tune in for the next few weeks. You'll see it on there. The video is called Ghost Walks Across Parking Lot. It's not very long at all, so it won't take up your whole afternoon. Real quick. But yeah, they saw that footage and emailed me right away and said, we've got to have this, sign the contract, and super excited to be on, such a big platform among some amazing paranormal investigators.
That video is actually the second video I'd seen from Kelly's Unexplained. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll put up a link to the video at the end of this video. Thanks for coming on the show today, Kelly. I had an excellent time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Turns out Emilie Sagee never got over getting fired and became a famous arsonist. Whenever her doppelganger was there, they always had a match!